So, welcome to my kitchen. This is where I make everything now. I would say this is where I cook all the beats, but I'll spare you of that. This is how I made Box. It all started on this guitar. I was like noodling around and I came up with the line. I still have the original voice memo here. This is like June 2016. This is like right before or right after the funeral happened. And then I didn't touch it like for months. I just left it as this chord progression I wanted to use, kind of hoping it would be a funeral song. And in like October of 2016, I came back to it and I wrote all the lyrics, and then I came to the studio. So it started with this. And I thought that sounded kind of sparse, so I ended up putting in some white noise. And it's subtle, but it makes it sound like it's just a little bit more real. And it sticks like that all the way into the chorus when the kick comes in. I didn't have a drum set at the time, so I just did a fake one. And the funny thing is about the percussion, if you take away everything but that, it's a really like upbeat kind of catchy thing. You have the kick, and then on top of that I added kind of a more 808 sounding thing to beefing it up. Here's a bunch of other stuff. So we have hi-hats, we have like another kick in there, a little bit of a snare. There's this one little part that do-do-do that I made a whole new track for it to store and make it a little bit louder. Right there. Last but not least, on top of all of that, I added this super reverby acoustic snare. So, that thing. So when you have this by itself, it's very... you wouldn't think this was a sad song. It's super upbeat. You add the bass line and you add the synthesizers and it's suddenly sad. And then, of course, I'm forgetting these things. That's probably like my favorite part of the song. I wanted to have this kind of chorus of singers that like had no life to it. Like I wanted it to be very kind of cold. So what I did is I recorded the original line, which is this, and I auto-tuned it a bunch. Bunch of reverb too. And then I just copy pasted it and I pitched the whole thing up an octave. Copy pasted, did it an octave and a third. And then I took the original and I just did it an octave down. And they sound kind of funny when you have them like all individually, but together they're just this very robotic sounding mess. I wanted the solo to sound like the solo that came after the second chorus of Bohemian Rhapsody. And they don't actually sound that similar, but that's what I was thinking of in terms of like the chords I used and like the tone of the guitar. So, you know, I just plugged it in. I used this one over here and thought, ooh, what's the edgiest one I could do? So I chose the American Metal preset on here. And I added these harmonies into the album version literally just by copying and pasting the solo and then just pitching them to what they should be. For the chords, I used, like Bohemian Rhapsody, a secondary dominant, which is like music theory terms for saying the chord sounds really weird and then it suddenly doesn't, it like all resolves. So we have, that sounds fine. Ooh. And then it sounds good again. And then finally, we have the outro. Let's see. In the original one, it ended like this. So it had this very kind of cheesy, happy ending. And then the album version, I thought, no, I can't give that to them. I wanted to end it with a surprise, I guess. So it actually ends like this. And just this like chaos, like other sounds going on, cup dropping. Yeah. I guess that's sort of symbolic of how, like, I knew the end was coming, but it was still kind of, it didn't feel right when it happened, and there was just this massive confusion afterwards. And then that confusion leads you into Stronger. And yeah, that's how I made Box.
I'm staring at a box containing something that